Hello there, my name is Kay Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, Lyndon Toba. My name is Greg Courage Pa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like with no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is here every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very amazing.
So we say, join us every day on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media at 10 a.m. with the headlines of top stories in our country and the world at large on Focal Online TV.
Hello there, my name is K. Lyndon Togba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible informations of our daily. Hello there, my name is K. Lyndon Togba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible informations of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, Lyndon Togba. My name is Greg Courage Pa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transform and we transition ourselves as a broadcast team as well.
Wow. So when can I better get this program you are talking about?
This program is aired every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. to 10:45. The program runs for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And guess what?
Wow.
We bring you hot stories of our trending situation within our country, Liberia. Imagine hearing stories from Hot Pepper newspaper, from the Daily Observer newspaper, from Front Page Africa. Are you a lover of Front Page Africa?
Oh yes, I'm a lover of
Front Page Africa, and the Women Voices, and a lot more. Not forgetting international news, BBC,
wow.
CNN, ABC News. We bring you headlines from those standpoints.
Wow, that is very, very, very. Okay, folks. Technical team for being able to resolve that particular matter. And again, we want to sincerely apologize for any inconvenience this interruption may have caused you. So, however, we are back again to the program Inside the Print Media. Today is January 23rd, 2024. And yesterday, it was such a historical moment. We witnessed the second transition process from one democratically elected government to another democratically elected government. So every other thing on yesterday was done in line with Article 53 of the Constitutions. Even though there is a mixed views outside of the public, the expressions of those who went to grace the occasions on yesterday wasn't very favorable as a result of what transpired on yesterday. But I am of the convictions that the ruling party, headed by President Joseph Human Boakat and Vice President Jeremiah Cohn, will definitely respond to all of those things. We are hearing that the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Human Boakat, has made his first batch of appointment, and those appointments are subject to Senate confirmation. So that is it. So let's go. Today we have a lot of newspaper in our possession. We have the Front Page Africa newspaper. We have the Daily Observer newspaper. We have the New Dawn newspaper. And we have the Hot Pepper newspaper. Lastly, so all of these newspapers have very, very interesting headlines. So for those of you who are watching our live stream, please share the live stream so that you can be informed about what is taking place in Liberia Yesterday, the entire world, was so much attentive to what was performing or what was taking place in Liberia on yesterday. So let's go over. Let's go over. We read the headlines from Daily Observer newspaper. Weah bows out after 6 years of troubles. Weah bows out after 6 years of trouble is what the Daily Observer newspaper is reporting. Let's go over to the other headlines under the Daily Observer newspaper. U.S. government pledges support to Bouakar's Kone leadership. U.S. government pledges support to Bouakar's Kone leadership. So let's go over to the New Dawn newspaper. Keep realistic expectations, Bouakar tells Liberians. Keep realistic expectations, Bouakar tells Liberians. In another word, Bouakar is telling Liberians that they should be very, very hopeful of a new Liberia under his presidency. So let's go over to the another headline under the New Dawn newspaper. A new beginning as Bouakar pledges governments of inclusion. A new beginning as President Joseph Joubert Bouacar has made a pledge to form a government of inclusion. So let's go over to the front page Africa newspaper. President Joseph Bouakar's unveiled arrest agenda in inaugural address calls for unity and transformation in Liberia. We give you that again. President Joseph Bouakar's unveiled arrest agenda in inaugural address calls for unity and transformation in Liberia. That is what front page Africa newspaper is reporting. Let's go over to another headlines on the front page Africa newspaper. Wema Kamara, Gregory Coleman, Sam Gate, Kofi Hoos, and Sylvester Grisby nominated to high-ranking position. So President Joseph Bouakar has made his first batch of appointment on all of those appointees, all of those nominees are subject to Senate confirmation. So let's go over to the Hot Pepper newspaper. Weah government leaves over $40 million in government of Liberia consolidated accounts. Weah government leaves over $40 million in government of Liberia consolidated accounts. That is what from our Hot Pepper newspaper is reporting. Budget concludes joint forest landscape restoration project. Budget concludes joint forest landscape restoration project. So these are all of the headlines. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we fill you in with the content of all of these newspapers. Let's take a short break, folks. Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Toba. My name is Greg Courage Pa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say Focal Online TV?
Focal Online TV is located within a Tobo village community along the Japanese highway.
Tell me more about the platform.
This platform, called Focal Online TV Daily Edition of Inside the Print Media, does not encourage any form of dialogue between the viewers and the presenters.
Oh, you mean nobody calling there?
No, you can't call on a show. Let me talking out like when we're no calling there. So all you can do is you will listen to the news, and they can also encourage you to buy the newspaper to listen to the news in details.
But do you do viewer recognition at times?
Oh yes, we do viewer recognition. When you are watching, we notify you, and sometimes we even appreciate you on a show, telling you thank you for always following us. We also encourage you to share the live stream, because the more you share the live stream, we transfer.
Okay, welcome back again. We are back. Let's go over to the Daily Observer newspaper. Weah bows out after 6 years of trouble. Just a year into his presidency, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, commonly known as Chatham House, described President Weah as a conflicted leader. In its January 18, 2019 assessments of Weah's first year in office, a British think tank said there were high expectations that Weah could tackle corruption and boost economy. Still, he struggled with entrenched interests and demand of patronage. Despite early signs that could take off bureaucratic access and corruption, rebuild infrastructures, and drive economic development, Weah's first year in office has been haunted by the old guard of Liberian politics, hampered by limited resources and dogged by controversies over missing money. Continuity seems to be winning out over change, Chatham House said. However, this initial assessment could be true for the rest of the president's 6-year tenure with some condition of extrajudicial killing, bad governance, and lack of respect for the rule of law. These sealed by reports of pervasive corruption many believe caused Weah his second term bid in the presidential race to be a man he defeated in 2017. Why many believe that there are so many things wrong in the last 6 years, almost everyone agrees that Weah's tenure was marred by leadership deficit, impulsive decision, massive corruption, and selective justice. The president even suspiciously outsourced his presidential authority to two of his supervisors, mainly the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Nathaniel McGill, and Finance Development Planning, Samuel Twe. Although the ministers themselves need routine hands-on supervision in the execution of their respective job duty, Mr. Weah's go-to person for foremost payload in government. He relies heavily on them for execution of his daily presidential duties, detaching him from the people who had elected him to steer the affairs of the state. Weah's presidencies in Liberia initially brought hope to many citizens who saw him rise to power as a chance for a better life. It is my belief that the most effective way to directly impact the poor and to narrow the gap between rich and poor is to ensure that public resources do not end up in the pockets of government officials. Weah had tasted poverty as a slum dweller before reaching global stardom, said in his inaugural address on January 2018 to a memo cheering cry at the Samuel Kanyando Sports Complex in Pinsville. He could not live up to the commitment as time went on. Weah's popularity wound, accumulating him his loss to former Vice President Joseph Boakai in the recent presidential vote. While there are various reasons for Weah's declining support, corruption emerged as a significant issue. Weah's failure to establish the war crimes code and address the drug pandemic also contributed to loss of public trust. Corruption is particularly spurred significant protests in the country, with Weah being accused of squandering opportunities for socio-economic transformation. Weah has long struggled with corruption, but under Weah leadership, corruption worsened, with the country's ranking from Transparency International Corruption Perception Index falling. The madness drove over the biggest protest in Liberia history. Weah's promised to weed out the madness of corruption. However, greed and graft have become the hallmark of his presidency. Robert Niger Pala, a Liberian academic activist and author based in London, said in an Al Jazeera interview last year, President Weah squandered practically every opportunity to school the country's most important goal of social economic transformation. From the beginning, Weah and his officials neglected to publicly declare their assets, setting the tone for a government marked by corruption. One high-profile scandal involved in the allegation disappearance of 16 billion, which was later revealed as a case of illegal printing. 2 months before the Amazing Banknote scandal, the government had injected 25 million into the country to extract the excess Liberian dollars in circulation. The president said the injection could curb inflation and depreciation of the Liberian currency. However, another scandal arose when an examination by the Liberian Auditing Commission exposed discrepancies in government's disbursement. Andrew Miamin, the executive director of Center for Accountability and Transparency in Liberia, told James Yao in an Al Jazeera interview that he could believe that Liberians voted out because of corruption. Everywhere he went, people asked questions about the situations of corruption in the country and what the government is doing about it. In their different reports we have done over the years, citizens have expressed disappointment in the government's lack of strong will to deal with corruption, Miami said. We believe that it played a part of the way people voted, Miami said. He didn't live by his word. The death of several auditors within a short span in 2020 further fueled public mistrust towards we as government regarding corruption. The first incident involved Albert Peters and Gifted Lyman from Liberia's Revenue Authority were found dead in a kite in Monrovia on October 2. Pathologists determined that they died from carbon monoxide poisoning caused by a defective exhaust system in the vehicle. Shortly thereafter, George Famboto, another auditor from the same authority, died from head wounds in a car crash near Monrovia on October 5. Emmanuel Nyinswa, the head of Liberia Internet Audit Agency, was found dead with head wounds outside the home in the same neighborhood as Famboto on October 10th. The inconclusive autopsy report added the outrage surrounding the auditor's death. The US-based Institute for Internal Auditor reached out to the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to seek assistance in investigating the death, but no substantial help was provided. However, the US did impose sanctions on 3 senior members of the US government, Nathaniel McGill, Bill Traore, Serena Cephas, for the involvement of public sector corruptions in Liberia. Many believe their lack of consequences for the elite helped to damage the reputations of we as leadership. This is how we move over to another headlines. U.S. government pledges support to Boubacar Koun's leadership. The government of the United States has expressed T5 support for the incoming Unity Party government. The head of high-level presidential U.S. delegation, Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said the government is ready to work with the new government in order to improve the lives of ordinary people. During her visit to Liberia for President-elect Jules Boubacar and Vice President-elect Jeremiah Kwan inauguration, Greenfield expressed the U.S. historical commitment to Liberia. After a meeting on Sunday, January 21st, with officials of the Providence Baptist Church, where she previously worshipped during her tenure as the U.S. ambassador to Liberia from 2008 to 2012, Greenfield emphasized the enduring partnership between the U.S. and Liberia. During her visit, Ambassador Greenfield highlighted the long-standing partnership between the U.S. and Liberia, emphasizing the U.S. continued support during the times of crisis, including war, the Ebola outbreak, and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Ambassador Greenfield commended Liberia for its peaceful transition of power and praised the country's commitment to democracy. She expressed the U.S. eagerness to assist Liberia in its journey towards a stronger democracy. The United States has played a significant role in Liberia's post-war recovery and has assisted in health crisis. Corruption is its cancer. Addressing the issues of corruption, Ambassador Greenfield reiterated the U.S. firm stand against it. She emphasized that corruption is a cancer and underscored the United States' consistent stand against it, not only in Liberia but globally, aiming to minimize its prevalence. Corruption is a cancer and something that the United States has consistently and strongly speaking against, not just yet in Liberia, but in other places in the world, she said. She noted that corruption hinders the progress in such areas as education, health, and infrastructure, and called on minimizing corruption to benefit the ordinary citizens. Ambassador Greenfield visit reaffirmed the United States commitment to Liberia and to support its support for Boubacar Sall in their efforts to build a stronger democracy and combat corruption. Having previously raised concerns about corruption during her ambassadorials in Liberia, Ambassador Greenfield reiterates the detrimental impact of corruption on education, health, and infrastructure for ordinary citizens. A statement highlights the United States' unwavering commitment to combating massive corruption in Liberia. I served as ambassador, like I said, in 2000, and made it part of my message over the reports. The time to now to raise concerns about corruption wherever it is identified, and we know the corruption keeps the country from striving or from moving forward. It takes education, health, and infrastructure away from ordinary citizens, she said. The U.S. government has been very wary of pervasive corruptions in Liberia in recent years, promoting some decisive actions against some perceived corruptions Liberian officials. It is worth noting that the U.S. government has taken action in recent years against perceived corruption officials in Liberia, censuring several senior government officials to corruption, abuse of public office, and human rights violations in recent years. With this being said, this is how we will move over to the New Dawn newspaper. Keep realistic expectation, Boubacar tells Liberian. President Joseph Boubacar reminds unity partisans and Liberians generally that their plan or desire to face the ill inherited must proceed with realistic expectation. President Boubacar says, being fully aware of the enormous task ahead, the UP-led government rescue mission comes with no false assurance, but will act in the first 100 days of the administration and then diligently pursue with mission. The expert uncovered for a cogent analysis of our national condition. We can no more attempt to bury our heads in the proverbial sand. He said, hard times, we see misfunction and we see culture of impunity. We see corruptions in high and low places. And these and similar conditions we have to rescue. President Boubacar said on Monday, January 22nd, 2024, immediately after he was sworn in office as the 26th president of Liberia on grounds of the Capitol building. The inaugural ceremony was attended by several dignitaries and global leaders, including the United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Thomas Lindner Greenfield, Vice President Premier from the People's Republic of China, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Guyana, Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, and former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, among others. President Boubacar explained that he has begun his quest for the presidency because something seemed wrong with Liberians and the country's leadership, noting that rather than the positive, Liberians were accentuating the negative about the countries and about one another. We are initiating false start, building on poor foundations. We are deepening our differences, creating social fault lines, inclusive and accountable governance at all times. We created a culture of unfinished business, engaged in the health undertaking, making this behavior the new norm. We are trivial about the rule of law. We lower standards in many domains. Our common life as a people, we seem to have lost our way and lost our hope. With this being said, this is how we transition over to another headline. A new beginning as Boubacar pledges governments of inclusion. Newly inaugurated Liberian President Ambassador Joseph Yemen Boubacar has pledged a government of inclusion void of partisanship, meaning after taking office at the Capitol building on Monday, January 22nd, 2024. The election is over. Partisanship must be erased. Time for national and inclusive government for everyone to have the opportunity to work. Together we can build a new Liberia, a bigger Liberia and a better Liberia, restoring our dignity, said President Bouaka. The 79-year-old former Liberian vice president succeeded former Liberian international soccer icon, Mr. George Weah, who, after a tightly fought election battle, conceded defeat following the November 14, 2023 presidential runoff election. The Bouaka's inauguration brought together high-profile international guests, including Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield, the U.S. representative to the United Nations, represented the Biden's administration in Liberia for the historic transfer of power. In his inaugural speech, Bouaka committed himself to a government of inclusion in which every Liberian can have the opportunity to serve the country in a pathway of building a new Liberia with dignity, integrity, and prosperous opportunity. The new president gave his opponents hope, particularly those vacating government positions from previous administration, with concerns about what could be their fate in the Unity Party's area. In his inaugural speech, President Bouaka denounced the attributes of partisanship and political affiliations in governments that frequently happened under previous administration. With this being said, this is how we move over to the front page African newspaper. President Joseph Bouaka unveils arrest agendas in inaugural address, calls for unity and transformations in Liberia. In his historic inaugural address, President Joseph Bouaka has called on citizens of Liberia to unite in the face of challenges and build a more inclusive and accountable society. The inaugural ceremony held at the capital was attended by the host of dignitaries, including the presidents of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, the U.S. permanent representative to the United Nations and former ambassador to Liberia, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, among others. Bouaka began acknowledging the significance of the 2023 election, emphasizing the evolutions of Liberia into a democratic dispensation with inclusive governance as its guiding principle. He credited the ordinary Liberians for contributing to the democratic dividend that has positively impacted the national and regional and global peace. We can now move to begin building Liberia into a solid bridge across the continent as it originally envisioned to be, President Bouaka declared. Highlighting the expectations set by the political campaign, Bouaka acknowledged the tough realities facing the nations, including dysfunction and a culture of impunity and corruption. He assured the public that his administration will act decisively within the first 100 days to address these challenges and pursue a dedicated rescue mission. I have come to rekindle hope and to the reposition of our national pathway. Bouaka stated, emphasizing the need for inclusive and accountable governance and the restoration of hope and dignity to the Liberian people. Reflecting on Liberian history, President Bouaka expressed gratitude to his predecessors, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and President George Weah, recognizing their contribution to the nation. He stressed the importance of building upon strength and correcting shortcomings. The nation's future. Addressing the nation's future, Bouaka called for recalibration, urging citizens to focus on the positive aspect of Liberia and engage in a national conversation facilitated by social media. He emphasized the need to restore inclusivity, transparency, and accountability at all levels of society. According to him, his administration's agenda could focus on national renewal, setting broad goals for improved governance, economic development, infrastructure rebuilding, enhanced services. The new president pledged to combat drugs pandemic, address crimes and security, and empower the people in decision-making processes. With this being said, this is how we move over to another headline on the front page Africa newspaper. Bremen Kamara, Gregory Coleman, Sam Gay, Kofi Hughes, Sylvester Grispen nominated to high-ranking position. Liberian President Joseph Bouaka has named The first members of his cabinet, including Finance and Development Planning Minister, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, National Security Advisor, Police, and Director of Executive Protective Service, hours after taking office. Wayman Kamara was named the Finance Minister's planning, while Gregory Coleman was announced as Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, and Samuel Kofi Hughes goes as National Security Advisor. Sam Gay takes over as Director of Executive Protective Service, and Sylvester Griswold was appointed as Minister for State for Presidential Affairs. The nominations still have to be confirmed by the Liberian Senate. Bouakai was sworn in on Monday as Liberia's 26th president, has promised to deliver democratic dividends to citizens in a country where widespread poverty that has left many frustrated and angry. With this being said, this is how we go strictly over to the hot pepper newspaper. We at government leaves over 40 million in government of Liberia consolidated accounts. Former President George Weah has disclosed that he has left the total cash of 40,357,090 million in the government consolidated account. Ambassador Weah recounted that in 2018 his government inherited a consolidated cash of 7 million from former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Delivering his farewell speech at the Liberian people on Sunday evening, the ex-Liberian leader bragged about democratically exiting the presidency with an economy for the administration of President Joseph Bouakai and Vice President Jeremiah Kpang better than what he inherited in 2018. According to the former Liberian leader, his government inherited 94.9 million in net and international reserve and has handed over to the next administration a net worth of reserve position at 222.7 million. We are added that this is 136 increase in net and international reserve positions, stressing that the Unity Party administration has more resources to deal with the emergent macroeconomic challenges than the coalitions of democratic change regime had at its disposal in 2018. On Monday, January 2024, former President George Weah officially turned over to President Joseph Bouakai, making yet another significant milestone in the country's democratic journey after 7 decades. At the same time, the former president expressed that he is immensely proud that during the tenure, Liberia remained at peace with itself and at peace with its neighbor. Our armed forces, a force for good, when were never turned against our own people, and extended actions were confined to international peacekeeping mission on the United Nations. With this being said, this is how we go over to the last headlines on the hot pepper newspaper. Budget concludes John Forest Landscape Restoration Project. In early March 2023, Budget Liberia embarked on a United Nations Development Program project titled Promoting Forest Landscape Restoration in Lake Pisa Multiple Use Reserve, Liberia through Agro-Ecological Farming Systems in Vototan, Bomi County. The project seeks to benefit nearly 15 communities, over 2,500 persons. It has enabled local farmers to acquire huge knowledge in land restoration, training, and establishment of a permanent nursery with tree seldom available in the region. He distributed to the local farmers to engage in ecological farming as a sustainable livelihood activity to generate income while promoting the landscape restorations in that region. Making the remarks at the close of the project, the country head Budget Abraham Vani said on April 27, 2023, Body Liberia held an inception meeting with voter time people in Moffat Klein Dual District's Lower Bombing County. During the meeting, the community provided a huge farmland to Body Liberia for a permanent nursery that will supply at least 50,000 cocoa, cash, and beta cola nut tree selling to local farmers to address land degradations in deforested communities. With this being said, this is how we will zero on all of the news presentation for today. So thanks to all of you who have been closely following this live broadcast. So now that the government has been set in motion, and yesterday President Joseph Newman Boakai was sworn into office, making him the 25th president of the Republic of Liberia. So motions has been set for the government to quickly tackle some of those prevailing issues that Liberians believe have eroded the progress of our nation's Liberia. So it is upon the shoulder of President Joseph Boakai's administration to tackle those issues about the drugs pandemic, to tackle those issues about education, and make some significant improvements in the arena of education, to make some better improvements in the areas of infrastructure developments, to make some better improvement in the lives of the Liberian people, especially in working out several other programs that will definitely improve the economy, because those are some of the issues that former President George Manuel Weah was actually confronted with. He struggled with those particular issues. So thankfully that Joseph Boakai's manifesto, which of course we will definitely be tracking gradually, today marks another beautiful day under the administrations of Joseph Newman Boakai. So Liberians are eager to see what his presidencies will actually offer to many people across the country. So because we are pressed up with time, this is how we cut this segment of the program inside the print media. We will be back here at 4 o'clock to bring you the program Good Even Liberia, and we are hoping to get government cycle to talk mostly about the inaugural program, and to clear the airwaves about the kind of mixed reactions that is currently in the public. However, there has been absolutely no clarity made as to what transpired. How is the health conditions? Many people are yet still eager to know, what is the current state of President Joseph Boakai. But we are hearing that President Joseph Boakai is well, he is healthy. He was actually battling heat as a station yesterday, right after the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Fonati Kofa, went to pay a visit to Boakai. He spoke to journalists yesterday, and he assured the people that Joseph Boakai is well and he is healthy. So, however, we are looking up to Joseph Boakai to President Joseph Newman Boakai to definitely address the state of the nation on Monday, at which time there will be a joint session about the 55th National Legislature. The 55th National Legislature do definitely provide his plan for the first year.
Hello dear, my name is K. Lyndon Toba. I'm in search of a platform where I can get credible information of our daily happenings in Liberia and the world at large.
Hello, K. Lyndon Toba. My name is Finan Koreshpa. Haven't you heard about Focal Online TV?
You say